This question was, how much distance should we leave when we walk in front of a praying person? This question deals with a couple of things. The first is pertaining the duty of the musalli, and the musalli is the subject, the person who's offering the prayer. If he is praying in an open area, or if he's praying in the masjid, in a public place, or at home where he expects people to cross from in front of him. We say in this hadith, in this regard, there is a hadith that is collected by Ibn Majah and narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, may Allah be pleased with him, in which the Prophet ﷺ has said, إِذَا صَلَّى أَحَدُكُمْ فَلْيُصَلِّ إِلَى سُتْرَةٍ وَلْيَدْنُ مِنْهَا. The hadith commanded a couple of things, that whenever any of you offers a prayer, be a fard or a nafl, you should put a sutra or a barrier in front of you. The second command is وَلْيَدْنُ مِنْهَا, to draw close to it. And the third command in the hadith, you should stop or resist a person who tries to cross in front of you between the sutra and yourself. So as long as there is a sutra or a barrier or an object that declares that you are offering the prayer, nobody should cross in between you and the sutra. There is another hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ addresses the person who may cross before a person who is standing in his or her prayer. This hadith, the Prophet ﷺ warns al-mar bayna yaday al-musalli, the person who crosses or passes in front of a musalli, by saying, لو يعلم المار بين يدي المصلي لكان خيرا له أن يقف 40. It's a serious warning. If the person who yamur passes or crosses in front of a person who is in the prayer, the sin that he has committed by crossing, how big is that sin? He would rather stand still or wait for 40. The narrator said, I'm not sure whether the Prophet ﷺ meant 40 days, 40 weeks, or 40 months. I normally say, okay, let's assume the least. He meant 40 days. What about this? 40 hours, 40 minutes. So waiting for 40 minutes, days, or weeks, or months is better than crossing before somebody who is praying, because of the great sin that is involved in this ma'asiyah. Accordingly, the musalli and the person who is passing by both are responsible to make sure that the prayer will be offered with khushu'. How? The musalli himself must pray towards the sutra. There could be a permanent sutra. The companions of the Prophet ﷺ, once they entered the masjid, كانوا يبتدرون السواري. They used to rush to reserve a spot or pray in front of one of the poles of the masjid or the wall itself towards the qibla, because the poles, as you know, that they were made of the trunks of date palm trees. So this way he would make sure that nobody would cross before him. Otherwise, you can put any seen or obvious object to declare that you are praying. If somebody still insisted on crossing, then you have the right, you are obliged to stop him or her from crossing before you. But what if the person did not do so? Putting the sutra sometimes is a sunnah and sometimes could elevate to the level of a wajib. It is a duty. Such as, if you are praying by yourself at home, then whether you put a sutra or not, no big deal. It is not really necessary, because you are certain that no one will cross in front of you. But if you come late, and you know that you missed 3 rak'ahs of the prayer, or you are praying towards the end of the masjid, after everybody finished the fard, now you are making the sunnah. Everybody wants to step outside the masjid. In this case, you should have put a sutra. If you don't, you are blameworthy. That's why the distance, all of that was to answer your question, which is, how much distance should we leave when we walk in front of a praying person? When the Prophet ﷺ entered the Kaaba to pray, he left between him and the wall of the Kaaba 3 yards, ثلاثة أذرع. So 3 yards will be sufficient if the musalli forgot or did not put a sutra. So leaving 3 yards between the person and you will be sufficient, and this is one of the very reasonable opinions, because there are other opinions such as double this distance, like 6 yards or so. So 3 yards will be sufficient, inshallah, and then you can cross.